Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live session at the Reactor. My name is Rav. I'm the program manager here at Reactor London. Before we get into the session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We're all here to learn, so please be respectful, please be kind, ask a lot of good questions. We're all here to learn. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So we are back with our third episode in the DevOps and AI series. Today we'll be talking about security, ethics, and governance in AI. And for that, I would like to bring Joylyn up on this stage, and she will take it from there. Hi, Joylyn.
Hi, Rob.
Over to you.
Thank you so much. Hope you're all doing well. As you can see, my name is Jolene Kirui. I'm a senior cloud security advocate at Microsoft. I've been in the security field for quite some time, I think more than 10 years. And please, let's connect. You can find me on LinkedIn and on X with those credentials shared on the screen. And with that, I'll start off our presentation. So we'll have a brief overview of the introduction. I'll just skip that so I can be able to do a lot more of the demos and of the slides as well. So in this whole journey of AI, yes, we might be wondering, so what is our responsibility in terms of security, ethics, and governance of AI? So I just wanted to start off with Microsoft journey in AI. You've probably seen the screen before, but just an overview of where the journey that we've come from. So Microsoft Responsible AI Framework was actually first outlined publicly in June of 2016 and has guided our approach throughout. So in 2019, we created an Office of Responsible AI and launched our first set of standards that put these best practices into actionable guidance for our engineering teams and our industry. This is where you can be able to also use a self-assessment for your own organizations in terms of responsible AI, making sure that the AI systems that you're developing are built responsibly in a secure, ethical, and that it meets governance as well. So this framework was released in June of 2022 and it was published the governing AI blueprint in May of 2023. So let's just have a look at the specifics of responsible AI. So let's just push back to 2002. I don't know how many of us have been in the field since 2002, but 22 years ago, Bill Gates, he sent a very famous email to all Microsoft employees announcing the creation of the Trustworthy Computing Initiative. So this memo called upon teams to all deliver products that are available, reliable, and secure as standards, as several standards that we have, like electricity, water services, and telephony. So making sure that they are as reliable as all those services. And then in 2003, we consolidated our security update process into the first Patch Tuesday. I'm sure most of us know Patch Tuesday. Maybe most of us dread Patch Tuesday, whereby you have to patch every so often the updates, but it's very important to adhere to the Patch Tuesday regulations and always patch your systems as much as possible to be up to date. So with the Patch Tuesday, it provides more predictability and transparency for customers as well in terms of the updates that are happening. And then in 2008, we published the Security Development Life Cycle. This is the Security Development Life Cycle. I don't know if you've interacted with the Security Development Life Cycle, but if you go to aka.ms/Microsoft SDL, you'll find 10 practices of the Security Development Life Cycle that can be able to guide you through in terms of integrating security throughout the software development life cycle. And then in June 2016, Satya's blog post about responsible AI. I'll read an extract of that blog post. It said, the debate should be about the values instilled in the people and institutions creating this technology. In his book, Machines of Loving Grace, John Markoff writes, the best way to answer the hard questions about control in a world full of smart machines is by understanding the values of those who are actually building these systems. It's an intriguing question and one that our industry must discuss and answer together. So we're going to go into a bit of the Microsoft Responsible AI framework, and also I'll show you all the capabilities that you can be able to deploy to secure your AI going forward. Please, if you have any questions, you can share on the comment section, and then we'll answer at the end of the session. So I don't know if most of you are familiar with the Microsoft Responsible AI framework. So at Microsoft, we believe that the development and deployment of AI must be guided by the creation of an ethical framework. As part of that, we have identified 6 core components that guide our work around AI. Each of these are actually critical to the safety of AI. We are passionate about and committed to this framework for the development and use of your own AI and as best practice for our industry as well. So I encourage you to learn more about the Microsoft Responsible AI framework. And in today's session, I'll cover more about the privacy and security bit component of the Responsible AI framework. So where we are looking at how we can secure AI from the platform layer all the way up to the AI-enabled applications you'll be building to keep them safe from bad actors. We're not looking at the intellectual property, but we'll cover a bit of that as well going forward. So you might be wondering, okay, so how does this whole conversation around generative AI fit into the DevOps pipeline and even security? So this just shows the SDLC stages where you have the develop, and then you get to the build stage, and then you get to the test stage, and then you get to the deploy stage, and then you get and then if any security vulnerabilities are found after deploying, it is breached. That's in production. So you've probably heard of the term DevSecOps. So you may be familiar with how DevOps practices and collaboration between developer and operations team lead to faster software delivery. So DevOps combines people, processes, and technologies to deliver continuous value to users. On the other hand, DevSecOps is the evolution of DevOps, where the company takes on security-first mindset, putting security into every phase of the software development lifecycle, all the way from design to the time when you deliver that particular software. So in today's day and age, it is imperative that we integrate security seamlessly into each stage of the software development lifecycle. So this approach ensures that security considerations are addressed from the project's inception, from design, resulting in faster identification and resolution of vulnerabilities. So you find that in early detection, you get to integrate security early, which allows the detection of vulnerabilities at the source code level, and as well as minimizing the likelihood of issues reaching production. As you can see from this chart, the cost of finding a security vulnerability in production is a lot more than when you find it in development. So how does the LLM, enterprise LLM, fit within the DevOps cycle? Let's just have a look at this. So now you might be thinking about what does it take to build a generative AI application. There's quite a few steps. So this just shows the steps that it takes to build an LLM application, and all the way from ideating and exploring. Remember, like even for the SDLC, we have the design stage, and then now you get to the build stage. So you can see it adheres with the SDLC stages as well. So where you have design and developing, and then you build it, you test, and then you deploy. So the same case with the LLM lifecycle, whereby you are ideating it and exploring it, and then you get to building it and augmenting it, and then you have it already in deployment, and you have it operationalizing, making sure that it's running as expected. So let's just have a quick look at the AI architecture in a security context. So the reason why we have to understand this is just a simple overview of AI architecture, like what is actually within what I'm actually using. So at Microsoft, we've broken down the AI architecture into three layers to help you understand architecturally which components sit and what happens where. So think of this as a pyramid of some sort, with AI platform being the bottom bit, whereby it's more of the infrastructure that is used to build the AI systems. And then on top of that, now we have the AI application whereby you build your own copilots. And then on top of that, now is the AI usage, where customers go in and use the AI application. So example for AI usage is where we have like Copilot, which was formerly Bing Chat. And then we also have GitHub Copilot, whereby you're using it within your IDE tool for code generation. And so yes, so you have the AI usage and then the AI application, whereby you develop your own, and then the AI platforms. In most cases, the AI platform is actually owned by Microsoft in this case, because we are the ones who are in charge of the infrastructure. That we've put in a lot of investment to set up the whole platform. And then for the AI application, that's where at least you can come in, because we've put in some systems in place whereby you can be able to create your own copilots. And then for the usage, end users interacting with the application that you've developed. So in this case, let's just get a detailed AI architecture breakdown. So there are three layers. These three layers are very important for the rest of this talk. So let's keep this in mind. So for those who understand AI application architecture, I realize this is very simplistic, but bear in mind that there's many people who don't understand this and want to level set this. So one thing is the same on AI platform and AI application, if you can see this, and that is audit and control and monitor user activity as well. So in this case, you have to make sure that you always have auditing in place, to make sure that whatever is being done is some form of non-liquidation, so that you can always track that someone did this at this particular time, and you can be able to trace that back to a particular subject. And then, so this just gives you an overall view of some of the things that we look at. For the AI platform, we have the APIs, the AI infrastructure, the orchestration, the audit controls, the plugin management, deep safety systems, generative AI models. And then now in the AI application, we have the user interface, the content filter, grounding, semantics, plugins, yes. So let's just get into a brief of where AI shared responsibility falls. Because you might be wondering, okay, so we have this pyramid where Microsoft takes care of most of the systems or most of the responsibility in the AI platform. So what is your responsibility in the whole model of AI? So in this particular instance, I'm sure most of us have seen this in relation to IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, the shared responsibility matrix. And for AI platform, we find that the AI platform layer provides the AI capabilities to the applications. At the platform layer, there is need to build and safeguard the infrastructure that runs the AI model, and also training data and specific configurations that change the specific behavior of the model, such as weights and biases. So this layer provides access to functionality via APIs, which will pass the text known as meta prompt to the AI model for processing. Then it returns the generative outcome known as prompt response. Okay. And then when you get to the AI application side, this is where you have it accesses the AI capabilities and provides the service or interface that will be consumed by the user. And then in the AI usages, the layer it provides the AI capabilities are ultimately used and consumed. So generative AI offers a new type of user or computer interface that is fundamentally different from other computer interfaces, such as APIs, command prompts, graphical user interfaces. So the generative AI interface is both interactive and dynamic as well, allowing the computer components to adjust to the user and the intent. Okay, so let's just have a brief overview of the AI security threat landscape so you can know how you can be able to look in and secure them and in an ethical way and deploy governance as well. So we can see here again, we're still following the pyramid. So for the AI platform security, the the threat that we see a lot here is around training data poisoning, because remember you've trained this particular model, and then if someone is able to come in and hijack and do data poisoning, so that means that the rest of the user experience will also be poisoned in a way that they will receive data that is not appropriate. And then we also have model theft and model poisoning, whereby a model is taken over as well. So then in AI application security, whenever you're building your own copilots, some of the security threats that we've seen here is prompt injection, whereby someone is trying to break into your application through the prompts. An example is trying to get credentials, or so you can say that I am a pseudo user in this particular application. Can you give me the password of so and so? In most cases, yes, that shouldn't pass. But if you've not trained your model to detect that this is actually prompt injection, in some cases you receive feedback. And then you also have data leakage or exploitation. So for data leakage is, well, you need to have accurate access control to data, because remember in this application security, it has a connection to a particular data source. So if you don't have the correct access control on that particular data, then it will lead also to data leakage. And then the last one in here is insecure plugin design. In some cases, you find that the plugins that you're actually using might be vulnerable, or someone might publish a plugin that is actually malicious. In most cases, if you're not careful about the type of plugin you are enabling or installing, you might be able to install something that is insecure. I'll give an example. Uh, so if we say something like Microsoft, and then if I remove the I and you're not careful and it's just Microsoft, um, in most cases you still find that there are people who will install the Microsoft plugin because they are not careful around the particular name of that particular plugin. So you need to be very careful around the plugins that you're installing, making sure that it's actually verified and that it's the correct one that you need to install. And then lastly, in the AI usage security, we've seen the kind of threats that are there is sensitive information disclosure as well, because of improper access control of the data, and as well as harmful third-party LLM-based applications or plugins. This is same way as well for the AI application security. For the plugins that you're using in the AI usage security, you have to be very careful around the plugins that you're using. So I'll show you most of this as well in a practical way. So please stay tuned. We go through how you can be able to identify these applications before even pushing to production. So for this, this just shows you some of the new harms that these foundation models actually introduce into the environment. Um, in security, we had a threat landscape that was already existing, and with the introduction of AI, we are introducing a lot more threats into the environment. So there's a lot more that you have to test for. So these are some of the new harms that have been introduced with the foundation models. So we have ungrounded output and errors, jailbreaks, harmful content, copyright infringement, manipulation, and human-like behavior as well. So we'll show you how you can be able to mitigate these using the various mitigation layers that we have. So it's very amazing that we have this new interface that can be a bridge to all technologies. The new interface that we are getting used to. So we want to make sure that it is not manipulating users. So in this particular case, we have set in several capabilities throughout the whole software AI life cycle, whereby we have layers upon layers of security guidance to make it very hard for attackers to actually compromise your models. So this something that we talk about in security called defense in depth. So by defense in depth, we are putting in layers and upon layers of security controls. So if someone is able to control or to compromise one layer, it's hard for them to get to the bottommost layer. By the time it gets there, they've already been detected. So we want to make it very hard for them. So in this case, we have the platform and the application side. So for the platform side, yes, we have the model, and then you have the safety system, and then you have the meta prompt and grounding. And then in the application, we are looking at the user experience, the topmost layer that we are looking at. So for this, I want to go into one capability that we have, which is the Azure AI content safety. I don't know if some of you have interacted with this. Please, if you have, please let me know as well. So this is a state-of-the-art safety system that goes around protecting those models that you have deployed. So regardless of the model we're using, we want to make sure that we have another system that looks after that another system that's looking for the mistakes that it's making, protecting it from different types of incoming attacks. And so our safety system is Azure AI Content Safety. And it's available to all for use, which we are very excited about. There are so many features which I'll show you as well. So let me just give you an overview of how this fits into the whole architecture. So it runs both the prompt and completion for your Azure OpenAI model through an ensemble of classification models built to detect problematic content like hate, sexual violence, and self-harm as well. So in real time, these models can be used to improve the quality of outputs and give customers control over the type and tone of content in the application. So they can also use to identify potential instances of abuse and alert customers of those concerns and automatically filter them out. I'll show you how we can be able to enable these Azure AI content filters. But first, I don't know if you have developers in attendance. So if you are a developer, please let us know. Um, because this bit is very important for us to understand what are your security controls for developers. So we definitely don't have a magic thing that secures AI. So the controls we are using here are not new for sure. So at the AI platform, we have software supply chain and operational security, whereby you're making sure that you're monitoring and responding, be it maybe you're using Sentinel or Splunk or any of the other monitoring systems that you have, any of the other SIEM tools that you have. And then in the AI application, you're making sure that you have software supply chain and dev security. We will talk about application security. So in the application security space, you're making sure that the application, the code that you're actually building yourself, you're actually coding yourself, is actually secure, and making sure that whatever dependencies you bring into the application is also secure. One thing that we've seen as well is 80% of applications is actually third-party components or open source components. So you can imagine if you are not keen on the kind of components that you're using, the dependencies that you're using, you're actually introducing 80% of security vulnerabilities into your environment. And then the other bit of application security is secret scanning. Because we find in most cases that you have like your API key that's hard coded in such a case, and then it's also in production. So be very careful around the secrets and making sure that you're using secure key vaults to, and then you're calling them from there. Okay. I know this is a very busy slide, but this just gives you an overall view of the security controls and how they fit in. So the red is the vulnerabilities and the blue shows the mitigations that we have in place. So for the AI usage, for the AI application, so think of AI application as AppSec, and then now for the AI platform. So some of the risks that we're seeing in the AI usage is around insider risk, social engineering, phishing links, phishing documents, poisoned content, and also there are other several attack capabilities that are done here. So this is where we are making sure that we have content filter using the Azure AI content filter enabled for AI usage, so that if someone is trying to jailbreak, it's detected and it prevents that jailbreak from happening. And then you also have now the identity security. So here we have to make sure that you have the correct control access, and only authorized users have access to to resources. So there's authentication and then there's authorization. So think of authentication as username and password, and then authorization is this particular user actually authorized to access a particular resource. So you have to make sure that access control is actually given to the correct entities. And then for the application security, one thing that we're looking at here is now data leakage as well as prompt engineering and the other application security vulnerabilities. So for application security vulnerabilities, we look at the OWASP top 10 application security vulnerabilities. And we also have a new one called the OWASP top 10 LLM vulnerabilities, which also covers with one of them being prompt injection. And then for the AI platform, it's more of jailbreak. It's someone trying to get the models that are put in place, but we put in metacognition and as well as strict model access to data. So that one is mainly done by the Microsoft team. This is yet another very busy slide, but if you have a moment, just screenshot this because it gives you an end-to-end view of what you need to be able to do throughout your when you're building your AI application, your AI system. So in most cases, this just shows you like a simple architecture of an example of an application, whereby you have your application user interface, and for your application user interface, this would be web application, and also your chat application. So some of us have used the Contoso application, whereby you have the Contoso Outdoors, whereby you have the tense, you have the website, and then now you have the chat functionality. So you have to make sure that you're adhering to the application security checks for the application. So wherever you have the SDL practices, remember for the SDL practices, you can access this in aka.ms slash Microsoft SDL. I advise you to go in and just go through the SDL practices and make sure that you have them incorporated throughout your in your organizations as well. And you can see now when you're querying a particular user to the LLM model, here we have to make sure that you have input guardrails put in place to prevent against prompt injection, jailbreaks, and to make sure that your content safety is enabled throughout. And then when you are receiving your response, you're making sure as well that you have the output guardrails, whereby you're filtering the copyright infringement, making sure that whatever information that shouldn't be accessed from the application side. And then you also have citation. So in most cases, it will be picking data from a particular document. You want to make sure that if you have access to that document, you can be able to query that document and see the content of that document. So access control is key again here. So this is very busy again. Just go in and see these capabilities within. So just take a screenshot of this and go into your AI system just to make sure that you have this adhered to. So we've been talking, I spoke about the application user interface. And I also mentioned about for the application bit, where we are looking at supply chain, we're looking at the code that you're actually building, and we're looking at the secrets that you have in your environment. So we have one tool called the GitHub Advanced Security, which is very important. If you have not used GitHub Advanced Security, I encourage you to go in and use GitHub Advanced Security. So GitHub Advanced Security has these three core components. So this is an application security solution that empowers developers. First of all, so And advanced security is embedded right into your workflow to help prevent vulnerabilities and credential leakage without slowing down the development process. I know most people are wondering, okay, so yes, we had DevOps. DevOps was increasing the time to delivery. So if you're integrating security throughout the software development lifecycle, are we also delaying the time to delivery? No, we want to make sure that we are delivering at speed, but also making sure that we have the security vulnerabilities addressed as well. So GitHub Advanced Security is like having your own personal security consultant who reviews every line of code with insights from security experts from all over the world. So GitHub Advanced Security empowers DevSecOps teams to prioritize innovation and enhance developer productivity without sacrificing security. So automated security checks are run with every pull request, surfacing issues in the context of the development workflow. So vulnerabilities are fixed in minutes, not months. And so these are the core solutions. So we have the supply chain security. So for secure the supply chain, we have unchecked dependencies. I mentioned that we have 80 to 90% of the code base is made of dependencies, typically OSS. So we need to ensure that we consume safe and secure dependencies. And then we need to make sure that you secure the code you develop. So ensure that it's free of vulnerabilities, ensure that there are no secrets embedded in the repository that someone can use to access critical infrastructure. And then we also have to integrate into every aspect of the development lifecycle. So we connect to all GitHub events, push, PR, or merging. It gives you security insights as well in your development lifecycle. And then it runs different scans at different times. So more focus on scans during developer PRs. So when you are about to merge a particular PR, it tells you that you have these particular security vulnerabilities. You have to fix them before actually merging. So you might be wondering, okay, so do I have to pay for GitHub Advanced Security? So public projects on GitHub actually benefit from certain default security features, such as secret scanning and a dependency graph. So GitHub automatically scans public repositories for partner patterns and provides alerts to repository administrators. Public projects are also can also choose to enable code scanning, dependable, and dependency review as well, without a GitHub Advanced Security license. So, however, these features are foundational and may not provide the full depth of protection needed for more context of projects or enterprise environments. So, when GitHub Advanced Security is paired with GitHub Enterprise Cloud, the comprehensive set of security features becomes available for internal and as well as private projects as well. But for public repositories, you can see here that all these features are available for code scanning, secret scanning, custom auto, tried rules, dependency review. But for you, if you have a private repository without advanced security, you can't access any of those. But if you have a private repository with advanced security license, you can be able to access all this and a lot more as well. So I'll show you how now in detail how you can be able to do all this. Okay. So let me just share my screen. If you have any questions, remember you can please ask them and we'll answer them. Okay. Are you able to see my screen, Rob?
Yes, yes, all good.
Okay. So I mentioned GitHub Advanced Security, and you might be wondering, so how should I go about enabling GitHub Advanced Security for my public repository? You can see here, there's actually a fork of the Azure Search OpenAI demo. This is a great demo for you to go in and test the AI capabilities. And this particular application has this architecture whereby you have the application interface, and then you have the app server orchestrator, and it's using Azure AI Search, and it's getting data from different data sources, and it also has integration to Azure OpenAI as well. So this is a great demo application for you to go in and try it out. So for those who use Python, we have this in Python, we have this in C Sharp, we have this in Java as well. So you can go in and just learn in the language that you are comfortable with. Yeah? So when you're talking about GitHub Advanced Security, all you have to do is go to settings in your repository, and then go to this section called security. And then there's this section called code security and analysis. So in code security and analysis, you need to make sure that this is normally enabled by default, but just make sure that this is enabled. So the dependency graph will give you an overview of all your dependencies, and just to understand what the versions, the licenses, and just to understand the whole ecosystem of your dependencies. And also from your dependency graph, you can be able to generate and export what you call an SBOM, a software bill of material. So a software bill of material is very important. So you can always know which components you have throughout your whole code base, making sure that if one of them is actually vulnerable, you are able to detect which one, and then you fix them as soon as possible. So you have to make sure that you have in the dependabot section, you have dependabot alerts enabled. So the dependabot alerts is what will be checking for the security vulnerabilities for your supply chain. Remember, you have all these dependencies. So this will be able to scan through and check which of those dependencies are actually vulnerable. And then we also have dependable security updates. So dependable security updates. If it finds that it has security vulnerabilities within your dependencies, it will automatically create a PR for you, and then you can go in and merge that particular PR. I'll show you an example here. So in the pull request, you can see that it has opened all these PRs for me, and it tells me that for a particular version. So it tells me that I'm using this version that has updates from this particular version to 7.4. So you have to make sure that your application is compatible with the dependencies that you're using, and you can also now merge all these dependencies. Again, remember we said in summary, for application security, we're looking at what? Code security, dependencies, so which is the supply chain security, and also the secret scanning. So we've already looked at the dependency review. Once you have this enabled, if you find any security vulnerabilities for the dependabots, for your dependencies, it will also show you within the security tab. So if you go here in the security tab, you'll see for this particular instance, for the dependabot, these are all the dependencies that are out of date, and it will show me that I need to also come in and this is the affected version, which is less than 3.3.0, and I need to update it to the latest version. Okay. So again, security, code security and analysis, make sure that you have all this enabled. Code scanning, remember code scanning is the code that you are actually building. You have to make sure that you have this code QL workflow enabled. So all you have to do is come here to code analysis, and then there will be a function here to set up the workflow. You can use the default workflow because the default workflow will automatically detect which languages are used within your application. And now it will start going through the lines of code that you have and identifies the security vulnerabilities according to the GitHub database that has all these security vulnerabilities. And then primarily, this is very important. So you have the security scanning feature. You have to make sure this is enabled. So secret scanning will pull through every line of code as well to find if you've actually had coded any credentials. So we have partner secrets, partner credentials, which are already built in. And also, if you have your own custom secrets that you use within your organization, you can be able to go in within secret scanning and customize that particular secret type that you have. But that is only available within the when you have GitHub Advanced Security license. And then you also have this feature of push protection. So push protection is whereby it blocks commits from actually being successful if it identifies that you have security vulnerabilities. Okay, so if you have a PR and then it identifies that you have a particular security vulnerability, you have a particular secret in a particular line, it will tell you that it can't merge until you fix that particular secret. You revoke that secret. So once you have those enabled, for code scanning, it will be a workflow that will kick off. So when you go to actions, as you can see, this will be a workflow and it will be called code QL. When you go to that particular workflow, let's just see what is done within. So you can see here there are two jobs that are in that particular workflow. It detected that for this particular application, I'm using JavaScript and TypeScript and Python. So if you go here just to see what kind of tasks are done, so these are all the tasks that are done. It checks out the whole repository, and then it initiates code QL, and then it performs the code QL analysis, and then it also and then it has now all these other tasks. And then once it finds security vulnerabilities, it posts that within the security tab as well. Okay. And just as well, for secret scanning, for this particular instance, we don't have any secrets in the whole repository, but normally it would appear here as well. Another important item that you need to be able to be aware of is we have another solution by Microsoft called DevOps Security, which is part of the Microsoft Defender for Cloud family. So DevOps Security just gives you an overview of your code to cloud deployment. So whenever you're deploying this particular application, you can see here we have we're spinning up infrastructure. We have this particular bicep with everything being spinned up. So you can see here we're spinning up a lot of infrastructure from here. So we need to make sure that everything, whatever we're spinning up, is also secure. So with DevOps Security, the code to cloud solution, it shows you all these capabilities that are available. That you can see here the tools that are included in the DevOps security is CodeQL, Bandit. Bandit is an open source tool that checks your Python code for security vulnerabilities. ESLint is also another open source tool that checks your application JavaScript code for security vulnerabilities. And then we also have anti-malware that is incorporated within the DevOps security solution. Then we have Chekhov. Chekhov is an infrastructure as code tool. It's also open source that looks at the kind of infrastructure that's being spinned off and finds security vulnerabilities in there. So you can find that these are actually most of the same. Yeah. So you can be able to go in and see, okay, so which are the other security vulnerabilities that are found with check as well. And then you also have template analyzer, which also checks your templates to find if you have any security vulnerabilities. So you might be wondering, so how do I enable DevOps security? So let me quickly show you from Defender for Cloud. So enter now. So Once you are in Defender for Cloud, there is this bit of environment setting. It's taking some time today. Okay, while it's loading. Okay, so you have to connect your where your repositories are sitting. So in our case, our repository is sitting in GitHub. So you can be able to add different environments. So the good thing with Defender for Cloud, we have Defender CSPM. So Defender CSPM is multi-cloud and multi-pipeline. So you can see here, if you have resources that are sitting in AWS or GCP, you can be able to also secure those resources all the way from Defender for Cloud. And also, if you're using GitHub, Azure DevOps, or GitLab, you can secure your pipelines, your resources from your repositories from there in Defender for Cloud. So in this particular instance, since our repository is sitting in GitHub, all you have to do is to go to the GitHub environment settings, create a connector name. So in this case, you can just say GitHub connector, and then you add your subscription, and you can create a particular resource group for that particular environment settings. And then for this particular, just use any, and then use the location that is nearest to you, and then just say configure access. So in the configure access bit, so this is the bit which is very important, whereby you are authorizing DevOps security to scan you to get access to your resources that are available in your multi-cloud environments or your multi-pipeline environments. So in this case, it's very important to authorize this. And then what this does as well, it will go in, if you click the install DevOps security app, this will automatically install for all your repositories. So even going forward, if you choose that you want all your existing and future organizations to adhere to the DevOps security findings, it's able to install for a particular organization. And then now you just review and generate. So once you have done that, this particular workbook for DevOps security that will give you that overview of your security posture for those multi-cloud, multi-pipeline. For DevOps security, remember we are looking at code to cloud. So it does code scanning, it does infrastructure as code scanning, it does secret scanning, it takes all those scans. So you can see here it does code files so as findings. Okay. So in this case, you also have to have more visibility of the DevOps security findings within your particular repository. You have to go up a step further as well and create a workflow for DevOps security. So in this case, I had already created an workflow for DevOps security. So this is how it looks. So you can see here for this particular YAML file, it installed the task for Microsoft Security DevOps. I'll just go in and show you the kind of tasks that are done. The jobs that are run is it installs the Microsoft Security DevOps, and then it checks out the whole repository, and then it runs the analysis against everything, and then it gives you the findings. And then what it does as well, it posts those security findings within the security tab. So if you go here to code scanning, you'll be able to find that the tools that have been used for DevOps security are all these, and these are all the findings that DevOps security has gone in and found. So I'll share resources as well for step-by-step of how you can be able to go in and enable DevOps security. Okay. And then lastly, I want to show you. So this is the application for you, those who've gone through the Azure OpenAI chat application. Once you have deployed this is the application that's running. You can be able to query it, and it's able to reference several documents as well. So I have my, so this, as you saw from the architecture, we are using Azure OpenAI as well. So let me just search for Azure OpenAI, because it was a resource that was picked up from the bicep. You can see I have one running here. So let's just go into Azure OpenAI. Let's go to Azure OpenAI Studio. So I mentioned in the presentation that we have the Azure AI content filtering capabilities that is quite amazing in terms of protecting your models. So all you have to do, oh, send me off 1 second. So I'll show you how you can be able to go in and enable your content filters. So, okay. So we have this, it's already logged in. So we have our chat application here. So once you have deployed the step-by-step of the Azure OpenAI sample demo, it will be able to deploy this. It has these two deployments, so it has the chat and then the embedding, and the model that we're using here is GPT 3.5 Turbo. So if you go in to the chat, you can be able to edit the deployment as well. You can be able to open in Playground and interact with the whole um, application. But the bit that's also very important is for us to see here. We have create your own customized content filter. So this shows the hate, sexual, self-harm, violence piece. So this shows the severity threshold from allow low to all the way from to medium to high. So in this case, if I want it to detect as much, to prevent as much as possible, you put it all the way to high. Okay, so you can be able to put this according to the application that you are actually using, and let's just see what happens. And then next, we have this capability within the content filter called prompt shield or jailbreak attacks. So you need to enable that. If I were you, like I would enable all this just to make sure that you have overall coverage of your chat application. So prompt shield will act like as a shield. I remember I mentioned like adding layers of security controls. So prompt shield will be another layer of control against your chat application. So if someone is trying to jailbreak your application, it prevents that from happening. And then we also have protecting material text and protected material text, so like copyright documents and lyrics or something of the sort. So it prevents that as well. And then if you have sites that you don't want to be accessed or referenced within your model, you can be able to go in and add that as well using this content filter. So for this, I'll leave it as is, and then we say create content filter. So you can see here it has created the content filter. So all I have to do is to go to my deployments. I have my chat deployment here, or in order for me to put that content filter to be incorporated within this particular deployment, I have to go to edit deployment, and then scroll down to content filter, and then you use your custom content filter that you've just created, and then you just save it and close. So anyone who's accessing your particular chat application, your particular model, it will have all those filters that are embedded on top of the application to prevent any of those attacks that are prone to happen. So I'll finish off with slides. But Rav, do you have any questions that you can answer?
No, so we don't have any questions. I think we'll just give it like a few seconds to see if people have any questions at all.
Okay, so I hope that gives you an overview of what you need to do from the application security bit, making sure that you have GitHub Advanced Security enabled, and as well as Microsoft DevOps security, just to have that full coverage. And then at the end of it, when it's in production, we have now capability within Defender for Cloud for AI services, like for the Azure OpenAI services that you have. It will scan for any of the security vulnerabilities and gives you that insight from Defender for Cloud as well. But at the end of it all, when you're talking about security, these are the fundamentals that we are always talking about. As much as security keeps changing, the basis of protection always remains the same. For whatever system that you're using, always make sure that you have enabled multi-factor authentication, even for your own personal usage, for your social medias, for whatever you're using, make sure that you have multi-factor authentication as much as possible. And then next, you have to make sure that you are applying least privilege access. If someone shouldn't have access to something, don't give them access to such thing. We have something called privilege creep. Privilege, someone has too much privilege, maybe they moved from revoked. So you have to make sure that you have least privilege access and enabled. And then make sure that you have everything up to date. Your softwares, your applications, you have to make sure that your resources are all up to date. Because the easiest way for an attacker to actually compromise your system is through out of date components. Because remember what I mentioned, for your whole code base, you have 80% of vulnerabilities come from dependencies. So you have to make sure that you have this supply chain security up to date. Okay. And then also utilize anti-malware as much as possible, because it detects we have a lot of signatures that have been that are used to in these anti-malware solutions. So it detects a particular signature and it stops that malware attack from being executed. And then make sure that you're protecting your data. If you have PII data, if you have, sometimes we are like, oh, but my data is just for me myself, like it wouldn't do any harm. But remember, your small data and someone else's data is what forms the whole big data. So you have to make sure that you're protecting your data. Who has access to your data? Okay. And with that, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and on X. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much, Joylyn. Thank you.